that we wanted to make sure that we provided some time to get students back into the building during this school year. So one, we can definitely get them engaged in direct in-person instruction, and also so they can get the feel of what it feels like to be in a school once again. So then when we get ready for our August reopening, we would have had at least close to half of our student population in the school building for a couple weeks, so that August reopening hopefully will go a lot more smoothly, as opposed to having kids not in the building for a year and a half and then diving right back into the school. So I just wanted to make sure I provided some context for those who are wondering, with a couple weeks left in the school year, why are we reopening now? And if there's any questions or comments about that, by all means, you can place them right in the chat, or you can unmute your mic and say it for the people. With that said, we're going to continue.
Yes, and so I just wanted to provide you with a visual of what this means if you are choosing to be a hybrid student, meaning you'll be coming into the building a couple of days a week, and what it means if you're going to remain 100% remote. So if you were in first, third, and fifth grade, and you are a hybrid student, you would be coming into the building, and the building is opens from 8 to 8:30, so it would be at 8 o'clock to 8:30. On Mondays and Tuesdays, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you would be fully remote, which means that the schedule that you have right now is going to look exactly the same, with the exception of small groups. Those are the only things in the afternoons that may look a little bit different across the board, whether you're hybrid or you're remote. And so teachers will communicate any changes to the small group times that they currently have. Then if you're a remote student in first, third, and fifth grade, Monday through Friday, you will continue to have whole class learning from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock, with your small group time somewhere in between 1 to 3:30, and that would be every day. Again, the time of your small groups may change, and teachers will communicate that to you probably towards the end of March, right before we go off onto break. None of these schedules will start until April 12th, but this is what you can expect. And we can go into the next slide. Very similarly for kindergarten, second, and fourth, hybrid students will be coming into the building on Thursdays and Fridays, meaning from 8 to 2:30. And on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, they will have their remote schedule as they do right now, from 8 to 12, with small groups, anywhere from 1 to 3:30. And then again, for fully remote students in kindergarten, second, and fourth, every single day they will be continuing remote learning from 8 to 12, with small groups from 1 to 3:30. And again, just like before, be on the lookout for those small groups to change. It might be the date that they change, or it might be the time. And that's because many of our teachers will be splitting their time between hybrid students and remote students. And given that our hybrid days are until 2:30, many of the small groups will happen within the school day, when and if your child is in person, if it's doing in-person learning. You can go to the next slide.
And once again, if there's any questions, by all means, you guys can place them in the chat at any time.
And so just so this is very clear, like what this means for somebody who is choosing to be 100% remote, because April 12th may feel like any other day, and it really should. The school experience will have very minimal changes. You will continue to be in class from 8 to 12, but the change to expect, and again, I really want you to just understand this because it is something to look out for. Those small group times may be modified. And then the class sizes for the fully remote students may be smaller on the days that your grade is in the building, because most grades, about 50% of the students are opting into hybrid learning, which means that those students will be in the classroom and not online. And so in some senses, there will be more room for your students to get a little bit more of a personalized experience with the teacher who is going to be teaching the online students. And then we can go to the next slide. And then for hybrid students, obviously the change is a little bit bigger. You have 3 of your 5 days that are going to be fully remote still. Nothing will really change except for the small group time. But then you will have 2 days of in-person instruction. And in-person instruction will be from 8 o'clock until 2:30. And within that, they will obviously have a recess block and a lunch block with their peers. And they will just generally get that little bit more of that social aspect being in person. And obviously, some of the safety protocols are what extends that time. So hybrid students and remote students will be learning and doing the exact same things. The only difference being the environment in which they're doing it. I see a question here. Will the students have the same teachers or would there be a little bit of shuffling? That's a great question. Right now, we're still finalizing both the number of students who will be hybrid versus remote and teacher accommodations that will require them to either be fully remote themselves or if they will be able to go into the building. For the most part, your students in K-2 will have at least one of their teachers teaching them whether they're hybrid or remote. But on those days that let's say it's kindergarten and you are on Thursday, your child may be taught by one of their two teachers when they're in the classroom, and the other kids will be taught by their other teacher. But that is a change that you would see, given though that the class itself is split. The ratio of students that each teacher will be teaching won't really change.
To jump in and provide a little bit more, especially for older students, I think K-2 and K-3, generally speaking, when they're in hybrid instruction, will have, as Ms. G said, at least one of their teachers. But as Ms. G said, when it comes to accommodations, before our wonderful staff are teachers, they're adults first, and adults may have health concerns that based on COVID may require them to have some level of medical accommodation, which means that they cannot be in the building. Based on those accommodations, if we have a number of teachers who have those level of accommodations where they need to be home, then particularly in 4th and 5th grade, for example, we may have teachers, your normal child teachers, zooming into hybrid classrooms to teach them the same level of instruction that they would have received, but the teacher themselves may not be physically in the classroom with them. We'll have an adult in the classroom to provide students with support, but if we have a number of adults who do have medical accommodations that require them not to be in a building, then we'll try our best to set up Zoom classrooms where teachers are zooming in, and then students will have laptops to engage in that instruction. And there was another, will Empower be strict on uniforms for hybrid students? Since the school year is almost done, do you expect us to purchase full uniforms, meaning that your child is growing and that shirt that fit before does not fit now? So I know Ms. G and I were discussing about ways that we can potentially sell discount uniforms to families. In my mind, ideally, I would like our students to wear uniforms, but I get that life has happened. Some kids may have had a 2 or 3 inch growth spurt from the last time we saw them, and the uniforms won't fit. So my answer to that is we will follow up as the date gets closer when it comes to the expectations, when it comes to dress code, because we're still trying to finalize that. All right, but great questions, I appreciate it. Next slide.
And so now we can get to, I think, the biggest change for hybrid students. If you are fully remote, I do recommend that you listen. You do have another day to change your mind and to opt into hybrid learning if you wish. But with hybrid learning, one of the things that is new is that all students and staff must get tested prior to our opening days. And not like today. I wish I could tell you that you can go and get tested today and show it to me and I'll let you in on April 12th, but it must be a test done 7 days prior to April 12th. So that Monday, April 5th is the first day you can go and get tested and show us the completion of said test. And then once you enter the building for the first time and you've been tested, we will be doing random testing like the DOE has required all schools across the city to do. And so they require, I believe, about 30% of our staff and students to be tested a month. And so generally, we want to be conservative. I don't want to say it will be once a month. I do think it's going to be slightly less than once a month, but your child, after that first initial test to get into the building, will be tested about once a month. I will go into great detail about the different ways you can get tested both in the building or on your own in just the next few slides, but that is what you can expect. I know a lot of the questions I get is, I'm nervous for my child to get the COVID test. It's painful, it hurts, like they go to your brain with the swab. We have had a learning center so far for the past 3 months where this testing cycle has happened, and I have seen kids that are 5 years old to 13 years old get the test, and I promise you, and I promise you, I haven't seen one of them cry yet. I do think that they're a lot gentler with students, but it will be a swab test if you choose to do it within the building. More on exactly how that will work in the next couple of slides. And so I'm just going to go right into it, and then you guys can ask me questions because I do think the next couple of slides will clear up a lot. So your first option on getting on-site testing done is by doing it within the school. We will provide you with an opportunity to come into our building to get tested by a company that we have been using so far this year with our staff and our learning center called Quality Labs. In the letters that I've been sending, a link is, you can find the link just to get a little bit more information about the testing company that we are using. But it's just like Quest Diagnostics or some of these other big names that you have heard before. And so what that will mean is that the week prior, the week of April 5th, we will hold a day where students and families can come into the building to get tested. It'll be happening on the first floor as families can't go up to the 5th floor. But in order to get tested with us, you must submit your child's insurance and parent ID card. Those are the two things required in order to get tested with Quality Labs. If you didn't have insurance, the cost is about $130 for the test with Quality Labs. And there are much better options out there that are free with or without insurance that I'll go into in the next few slides. But again, if you want to come into Empower to get tested, you can. And once we finalize the date, we're still waiting on them to confirm exactly when we'll be coming in. You will be able to do that. You just need to give us your child's insurance and a parent ID card. But then the good thing about doing it on site and doing it the week before April 12th is that once you register your child's ID your ID and your child's insurance, anytime they have to get randomly tested, you will not need to submit that again because it's the same company that we'll be using for our randomized testing. And so I would say that that is an advantage to choosing to come into the building the week before to get that initial test, because then after that, any random tests that you get notified about, you won't have to worry because you know that we can get it done in the building while your child is in school. But then you can go into the next slide for our other option, which is offsite COVID testing. Now, to preface this, there's a few different options. There pretty much any health center you walk past, including I'm seeing mobile centers. I mean, I feel like the one thing that is extremely accessible right now is getting a COVID test done. Most places will have you do a rapid test and you can know whether it's positive or negative. And I've heard those have become a lot more reliable. And then they will do the PCR test, which is the swab test. That will probably take 1 to 2 days to get the results. What we need from you if you choose to do the test outside of Empower is we just need you to send us through text, email, word. We'll take it any which way, the proof that you have completed the test. So once you've done the test, you can just send a picture of the notice from the health center that you have done it. It can only be done 7 days prior to April 12th. And again, so that means that April 5th is the first day you can get a test done that you can submit to us as proof of test. So if you're choosing to do it offsite, any health center will do. Some of them will require insurance, but in a few slides, probably in about 2 slides, I think. Nope, next slide. In the next slide, actually, we can just go to there, Mr. Carrington. The free COVID tests happen at the Gotham and the New York City Health hospitals. And so these are the ones that I have gathered that are right around our area, around the zip codes that most of our families are in. When you can pre-register and you can sign up. I've already checked, and they have plenty of appointments. I did hear that you do still have to wait a little bit, meaning that if you register for a 3 o'clock, you might have to wait 30 minutes to actually get the test, but it is free. They don't require insurance. But any place that requires insurance, the insurance will pay for it. I have not heard of a single insurance so far that wouldn't pay for a COVID test. So if you have insurance, you can pretty much go anywhere. If you don't have insurance, this is where you can go and get a free COVID test, no insurance needed. I see a question. If your child gets a vaccine, does your child still get to be tested? So unfortunately, as far as I know right now, there has not been an approved vaccine for children under the age of 16. And I don't imagine it happening, but as soon as it does, I am very excited about it. And I don't think they would be exempt right this second, but I think if in September we have a vaccine approved for children and the majority of adults have also gotten the vaccine, and we have 80% of our population that, you know, is vaccinated, I don't think we'll need to have to take these tests. And so let's all hope that that is the case.
Also, to piggyback off that, for parents who are interested, all adults, even if we are vaccinated, we will have to show that we have the recent COVID test, and we will also be subject to random testing as well. K-8 will all have to go through the random testing protocol, students and adults as well.
Right. I believe, yes, we can go to the next slide. So there are exemptions. So there are some medical exemptions that you would have to get a doctor's note for, but I would speak to your child's physician if you feel like there is some sort of condition that would not allow your child to get the COVID vaccine. If you have proof of that signed by your physician, then they would be exempt. That's it. And so the way, another part of just our protocols for testing, once you sign the family commitment and consent form for testing, whether you do it on-site or off-site, there is a space for you to say, I actually have a medical exemption. I can't, like, my child cannot take this test. Here's the proof. Again, that proof can be texted, emailed, taken a picture of, dropped off once we open the building on Monday. Any of that will do. And then same goes for students with a disability who cannot get safely tested in school or outside of school. So again, same thing. If there is a physician that has signed off on that, then that is something that you will submit, and then we will work with you to figure out with our network whether this will work, and therefore provide you with an exemption. With that, April 12th is 1 week after our spring break. And now that the weather is getting nicer and travel restrictions are lifting slightly, we know that many of our families will travel. And so we just wanted to make sure that if you are returning to the building, to be mindful of the travel policy for the New York State in general. This is not Explore related, but if you would like to avoid the 10-day quarantine, which would, if you had to come back on a Sunday, if you came back April 4th, you would have to wait all the way until April 14th to actually start school. In order to avoid that, if you are traveling outside the state and it's not in the tri-state area, meaning Connecticut, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, I think are the only ones where you don't need to follow this travel advisory, you must take a test 3 days before you leave wherever you are. And then when you come back, you will quarantine for 4 days. On that 4th day, you go get a test. If both of those tests are negative, you can get out of quarantine. And the good thing is, if you can get that negative test and get out of quarantine, you will have plenty of days before school actually starts in order to come into the building April 12th. So again, April 5th is our first day back from spring break. If you have traveled any time within that time, in order to ensure that you can get into the building and get yourself out of quarantine if you've traveled, just make sure that you're getting that test before you leave your vacation spot, within 3 days before you leave that vacation spot. And then get another test 4 days after you come back. And then you can get out of this 10-day quarantine. If you don't do that, 10-day quarantine, come back on April 5th, April 15th, you can actually come into the building. You still need that test within 7 days. Just reach out to us, because I recognize that traveling and all of these dates and how many days and this and that is a little complicated. So if you do plan on traveling and you do plan on being hybrid and you're not sure what to do, just give us a call and we can help work out exactly when you would need to test, where you would need to test, so that you can make sure you can start on April 12th. And now this is just a reminder that tomorrow is the last day you can change into hybrid learning, and this is for the rest of the year. Again, if you want to get out of hybrid learning, or if you're on the fence, please try to make your final decision by tomorrow. While we can't force anyone to remain in hybrid learning, the constant back and forth makes it extremely difficult for teachers to plan for lessons. If Miss Petty is expecting one person to be with her in the building one day, and they one day decide to be fully remote, it does change a lot of their plans on who they plan to work with and what lessons they need to teach. And so we do ask, and I know that it's difficult. It's a difficult decision, and a lot of people are on the fence either way. But tomorrow is our last day if you want to go into hybrid learning. But if you have chosen hybrid learning, please make sure that that is what you really feel very comfortable with, because we want to make sure that on a given day, we can tell teachers with confidence, this is who will be in your hybrid class, this is who will be in your remote class.
Mm-hmm. I think to piggyback off that, I think families, as Steph said, and Ms. G said, this may be a difficult decision. And you may have questions that you would like answered. There was a parent today who had a couple questions about testing, and she reached out. So I think definitely if you are unsure and need clarity on certain things, by all means, please reach out today, tonight, tomorrow, to get the level of clarity that you need in order to make an informed decision about whether or not you would like your child hybrid or remote. Please, if you need information, reach out. We'll give it to you, but we just want to make sure that you have all the information you need to make the best decision for you and your child.
And so this is, and we can just pause right here. This is where we're gonna pause in terms of the reopening information. We will have a mandatory hybrid student presentation coming up on March 26th, so 2 weeks from now, where we'll get into transportation, just what arrival will look like, more of the procedural things. But this was really our opportunity to give all families the exact breakdown of what it means to go into hybrid learning, what it means if you stay remote, so that you can make an informed decision about where you want your child to be for the rest of the year. So now is a good time if you want to unmute yourself and ask some questions before we sort of wrap up with just some of the events that are happening over the next few weeks.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are these kids being tested before they come back into the building on the 12th?
Yes, they must get tested 7 days before, at least between 7 and 1 day before they come into the building. So if you need to get a test anywhere from April 5th until April 11th in order to be able to return into the building.
Good afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by parents' ID?
So like a driver's license. I mean, we technically have it on file, but we can't give out that information without your permission. So we just need to ask for it again, a copy of it.
Okay, so when they come, we have to like pay them when if we're doing the COVID testing at the school?
No, so that's what I was trying to say. As long as you have your child has insurance and you have health insurance, your health insurance will pay for it. But if you do not have any health insurance, there is a cost to our test. there are like the New York City Gotham hospitals, that is where you can get an absolutely free test, no insurance needed. But the company that we are using requires insurance. And so if you don't have insurance, there is a cost. But if you do have insurance, there is no cost.
Okay, so I need to find my insurance. Okay, and when school opens on the 12th, is it gonna be every day or just specific days like what we were doing before?
Just what we were doing before. I think that we don't want to provide any misinformation, like anything that might change. So like this is what we feel very confident in right now. First, third, and fifth coming in on Monday and Tuesday. Kindergarten, second and fourth, Thursday and Friday. If we have less students than we expected, if we have more rooms than we expected that are available and open, we may have space for a few more students to come in more days, but there's just no guarantee until we get those final numbers of both teachers that can enter the building, like that do not have accommodations and can enter the building, and students who are opting into hybrid learning.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I just want to know when you're gonna open for the text at the school.
Question was, when are we going to open for after school?
No, when you gonna open for do the text for the virus.
Oh, to do the COVID test.
Yeah. It'll be
Uh-huh.
the week of it'll be the week of April 5th. We're still waiting for them to provide us with the exact date, but the moment we do, you guys will know.
Oh, okay, okay.
But it'll be that week since we need it 7 days before. So it's gonna be likely just April 6th, 7th, or 8th. It's gonna be one of those days.
Okay, no problem. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is Hamadun and Fasili Daddy.
Yes, indeed.
Hello.
Yeah, I just joined the meeting later. What kind of document you guys you looking about it for the test? My ID and what else again?
And insurance. The student's insurance card.
What's my insurance? Sorry, the kids' insurance and my ID.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And your guys have Washington a different company doing the test, or we have to go to our Washington the kids' doctor?
You don't have to go. So that's what we're. So there's two options here. You can do the test on your own. Like I was saying before, there's basically any health center or your doctor can do the test for you if you wanted to schedule that. But we are offering testing on site. And so with that, all you need to bring is the insurance card and the ID, and your children can be tested on site the week before. The exact date is gonna come soon. We're just waiting to hear what day they can confirm.
So how much those guys charging at the school? How much they charge the insurance company? How much they charge?
Yeah, if you have insurance, it's $0. If you don't have insurance and you want to do it at the school, it's $130. And I don't recommend that because there are free places. Like if you do not have insurance currently for whatever reason.
The thing I'm trying to know, because if they have insurance, it's not free, because the insurance pay. We have to know
exactly.
how much.
Right.
How
The
much they charge the insurance? How much they charge the insurance?
That's a great question. I can try and find the answer for that, but I'm not sure how much they would charge the insurance.
all insurance have how much budget they put on the insurance for the year. We have to know how much those guys are charging. We cannot go wash them again, how they call it, do the insurance, how they call it, do the test, and after that they say they charge the insurance $500 or $1,000.
Yes. No, I totally understand. I feel pretty confident about this, but I am going to double check and include this in the next communication. But I'm almost positive that New York State is requiring, if you have health insurance, the health insurance pays for COVID testing. Like they're pretty much required to pay for it. It's not a negotiable. I just got my physical and they wouldn't pay for vitamin D, but that's very different, right? And so I think that I haven't seen so far, and they pretty much accept any insurance. I haven't seen anywhere where somebody is asking, like the insurance has asked them to pay out the rest of this test.
Okay.
I feel pretty confident about that. Yeah.
These are some good questions that people are asking, definitely. Any other questions? Let's keep it going. If people need information, we're here to support you.
I'm sorry, which day would the testing be at the school?
I know. I want to tell you, they just haven't told me yet, but it's going to be either that Tuesday, April 6th, April 7th, or April 8th. One of those days, it'll be an all-day thing, probably from 7:30 to 3:30, where you can come in and we'll schedule you in.
And as soon as we know what the dates, we'll definitely let all of the families know.
Okay. Mr. Carrington, I tried to fill out a form for my daughter on the website for kindergarten, and I'm not sure if it went through, but I did the whole work. I'm
We
not
can
sure.
check for you.
Not
I can
Jaya,
let you know. What is the student's name?
not Jaya Barrett.
Yep, we can have Miss Bailey reach out to you tomorrow to confirm that we've received that.
It did come through?
I can actually just check right now. Give me a moment.
Yeah, we'll double check, but that creates an excellent segue for if there's any families on the call now who have children who are going into kinder or may have siblings, family members who are looking for an amazing elementary school. Empower Lower is definitely enrolling students for kindergarten through 5th grade and kindergarten through 8th grade. So if you're interested, we have our link on our family website. You click on that link and it will follow the directions from there. Question, are we sticking to ELA and math schedules? I would answer that as we are going to have an hybrid schedule, maybe a little bit different, but the core content of math, closed reading, those particular subjects will still happen. In hybrid learning, it may happen at a slightly different time. For the students who are staying remote, your schedule, with the exception of afternoon small group instruction, those could be changed when it comes to the day and the time your child is being met. But for the most part, remote instruction, the schedule will stay relatively unchanged.
I have another question again.
Mm-hmm.
But the test and the COVID vaccine is mandatory or not mandatory? I know the test is a mandatory. What about the
Right. No vaccine. There's no vaccine for children yet. No, there's no vaccine for kids yet. So they can't get it. They haven't approved a vaccine for kids yet. I know that they're doing trial tests.
Okay. So I think so. Yeah, I called yesterday about watching again Hamadun Fasili and Burema, and Mariam hybrid learning. And they say I have to wait until tomorrow again to confirm, but because I don't change it, I just leave it watching again with the hybrid learning.
So we can double check, but I'm pretty sure we have your children at hybrid learning for this upcoming one. Because you guys were hybrid before and it wasn't changed, so you guys should still be hybrid now. There are a couple questions in the chat. I want to respond to them. Any word on the state exams? Technically, New York State has not canceled either the ELA or math state exam. Do we anticipate them happening? Probably not. Will we have our own version in-house and math practice tests? Yes, for ELA grades 3 through 5. That'll be on April 20th and April 21st. Because if you're a 3rd through 5th grade parent, you know that especially on Thursdays and Fridays, your students are diving into, well, actually all week, diving into closed reading texts, using a strategic reading plan to come up with the best multiple choice answer, the strongest main idea and short answer response. We're having in-house, not practice tests, pretty much show what you know on April 20th and 21st. When it comes to math, we'll have a version of that in May as well. But it is seeming highly unlikely that we'll have the same state exam structure that we had in previous years. Is it possible for your child to come one day instead of the 2 days for hybrid learning? Here's the issue with that, because We create our schedule, meaning we determine how many teachers we have in our building based on the number of families who have signed up for hybrid instruction. If it turns out that on particular days, if three teachers are in the building for hybrid instruction, one teacher is home for remote, they're setting up their schedule so they're gonna have between 22 to 27 students. If there are a number of different students from time to time that they choose to stay home, that then doesn't set that child up for success because the teacher planned for lessons like 20, 23 students, and now we have a lot more. So I think ideally, if you're signing up for hybrid instruction, try to have your child come to school on those 2 designated days for hybrid instruction. But if life is happening and the only time that you can have your child come for hybrid instruction is 1 out of those 2 days, I think having a conversation with myself and Ms. G so we can talk through it to see if there's any potential solutions that we can figure out. But if life is happening so you can only have your child here for 1 day and you tried everything else and that's the only option that you have, I get it, but we want to try to have students, if you sign up for hybrid, have them coming in for both days. Due to my work, it was 1 day, now it's 2. All right, but so I think if Ms. G, if you wanted to follow up directly with myself or Ms. G, so potentially figure out if there's an option that we can do to support you transportation wise, definitely reach out and we can try to figure out a solution.
If this is in regard, if this is due
Oh,
to transportation.
G, we don't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay. If this is due to transportation, Sherry G, I feel like I know who the student is, but I can't remember right now. Yeah, please reach out to me because we can try and figure something out.
There was another question, are students in hybrid using only the computer or hard copy work? I think that will specifically depend on the grade. I want to say right now, Ms. Uki, your child's in 4th grade. 4th graders will need to bring their laptops each day they're here for remote learning. 4th and 5th grade, definitely. Probably not kindergarten through 3rd, but we'll make sure that we will follow up with definitive information as we get closer to the date. But 4th and 5th grade, more than likely, laptops each day you're in the building. 3rd through 5th, I mean, kindergarten through 3rd, probably not, but we'll follow up and verify soon. Some great questions, by the way. I love curious parents and want to find out the information they need. All right, any other?
Are kids allowed up to the building? Not right now, unfortunately, but we do have people, like all teachers and staff on every staircase or every other staircase that is, to help bring them up and make sure that they're socially distant. But no one is allowed to go into the building past the lobby other than students and staff right now, which has been honestly very helpful in terms of ensuring that the building does not have any confirmed cases, because one of the confirmed cases a few weeks ago was somebody working on something in the basement. He never saw anybody, but as a result of, he was a DOE employee coming to check on something. So in any case, it's to avoid having anyone whatsoever put anybody else at risk. Arrival window is 8 to 8:30.
A little bit closer to 8.
Yes.
All right, we can continue to populate questions in the chat, but I want to continue and move towards wrapping things up. Hopefully on my screen that everyone can still see, we have our calendar for March. This is on our Howler and our website as well. I wanted to highlight, thank you everyone for coming to this meeting. Next week is Spirit Week, where we're gonna be focused on a variety of different colors. All students know each day of Spirit Week, they were communicated in Community Circle. It should be posted on your child's Google Stream. It's pretty cool when students participate in Spirit Week and culture events, because we haven't been in person for coming up on a year on March 13th. So having these type of events that build culture and build camaraderie is pretty cool. So if you can, check out our Spirit Week color scheme for each day next week, and have you, because some of you families are on cameras as well, and have your child definitely participate in our Spirit Week. Another question, and will we still be able to do our check-ins online? Okay, family.
I can answer questions in the chat. Yeah.
Got it. All right, so I'm just gonna, oh, Steph, you wanna answer it in the chat?
Yeah.
All right, cool beans. So I'll just continue to talk. And our next event is March 23rd, our spelling bee. I'm pretty sure that our sign up window has closed and we'll be sending out the spelling word soon. Even if your child has not signed up for the spelling bee, it'd be pretty awesome if they come and join anyway. They can cheer on their teammates, learn different words, and once again, engage in an opportunity to learn from and be around all the incredible people that we have in our community. Once again, Spirit Week, get your different shades of color, greens for St. Patrick's Day on Wednesday. Just be a little mindful when it comes to Couch Potato Day. It's pretty cool that friends are gonna be in pajamas. Just please make sure that your child is sitting upright on their laptop, because if you're working all day in your pajamas, you may be inclined to fall asleep. So yeah, just remember that one for Couch Potato Day. Wear your pajamas, but just be sitting up strong and tall and be ready to learn for the entire day. All right. Quick plug for, especially since we're going to be gearing up for reopening, we want to make sure that all hybrid families have the most up-to-date information that they need to have when it comes to setting up for hybrid instruction. Also, this will be a great opportunity for you to ask follow-up question on mandatory testing. At this point, hopefully we should have the time and day set up for the testing that we'll have at Empower the week of April 5th. So definitely, if you are a hybrid parent right now, we'll be sending out communication to families soon. Make sure that you pencil in Thursday, March 25th at 5 p.m. so we can engage in a constructive conversation to make sure everyone is good to go when it comes to reopening. With that said, I've talked about communication. Please make sure that you are getting our biweekly howler for all of the updates that are happening in the school, especially as we gear up for reopening, especially as we wind down the school year, and especially as we start to share information about what next school year will be. Like, when is the first day of school next year? How many days a week we'll be in the building? Please make sure that you are getting that howler every 2 weeks. You can use the QR code now in order to make sure that you get it. If you're going through your email and notice you haven't been getting the howler on a bi-weekly basis, please reach out to Empower Operations and we'll be able to set you up. Once again, we are looking for new students, kindergarten through 8th grade, but specifically kindergarten and 5th grade. We're looking for phenomenal students and families in every grade. There's also an opportunity for you, as the families are on this call, to be eligible to hopefully win a $100 Amazon gift card. Definitely check out our howler, where we have all the information there to see how you can bring people into our school community, make sure that they're part of our community and signed up all the way until October 1st. And then you'll have an opportunity to potentially win an Amazon gift card. So definitely spread the word. All of your friends, people in your building, people in the barbershop, beauty salon, please come to Empower Lower. We're looking for more students K through 5.
Did you check for me, Mr. Carrington, if my thing went through, or can I call tomorrow and ask?
I messaged you. I wanted to confirm your child's name again because I wasn't seeing what I thought I heard. So if you can just...
Najee Barrett.
I didn't see it. So I am going to have Miss Staley call you tomorrow and she can fill it out for you. But we can take care of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't go looking for other schools. Your daughter's coming to Empower. We're gonna take care of you, Mom, all right?
Yeah, she has to go where her brother is. There's no question.
Good. Bring the friend.
That's priority. So I don't think that will be a problem. The priority for the sibling.
Okay.
And additionally, we have to figure out exactly how many students we'll have in our school next year. Thank you to all of the families during last family teacher conferences that told your child's teacher that you will be returning for the 2022 school year, but we want to make sure, especially for families who have not directly told us, if their child is going back. Also, there was a couple parents on the call who was maybe moving. If you have clarity when it comes to whether or not you are going to be moving or whether or not you're going to be staying in New York and having your child continue to attend Empower, please by all means fill out that enrollment survey so we can have a good understanding about how many students we have returning, because then that will help us when it comes to our enrollment efforts as well. Questions, comments, feedback. And I want to thank families when it comes to giving us comments and giving us feedback, specifically during the November family meeting. Soleil's mom, Ms. Vandenberg, was like, hey, what do you guys think about having a spelling bee or a talent show? It was because of her idea is why we're having a spelling bee in 2 weeks and why we're having a talent show in May. So if you have ideas when it comes to ways that we can strengthen our school or give us feedback about things that we can do even better, by all means, we're human. We'll listen, we'll apply, and we'll get better. So you can put feedback in the chat. You can unmute your mic and shout out teachers, because fourth grade got a lot of love last time. You can continue to do that, but we just want to make sure that we're doing the best that we can for our community. And if there's ways that we're doing well, especially teachers, like let teachers know all the time, like the great things that they're doing, because they work extremely hard. And especially at this point of the year, it'd be pretty cool to hear from parents when it comes to how pleased you are with the work that